Maybe the admin have to admit. Please
It's
permit me.
okay. It's okay. I'll just highlight. So the larger reality, what I want to highlight is UNICEF has estimated. They have estimated that 10 million more girls will be at the risk of becoming child brides. Actually, what the estimate is, it's not just 10 million girls. They have already estimated that in the next decade, that is from 2020 to 2030, there would be 100 million girls will become child brides. And what they have predicted now is they will have additional 10 million. That means 110 million girls in total would become child brides in the next 10 years. On the other hand, you might heard about sustainable development goals, where the governments, the states from across the world, they are aimed to achieve equality. And one of their goals is to reach the furthest behind, to leave no one behind. But at the same time, this is a reality that UNICEF has predicted. And if you take the India situation, the NFSHS, National Family Health Survey data says nearly 1 in 4 girls were married by the age of 18 years in India. And right now, the government has, increased the marriage age. I do not know how it's going to help children who are getting married already below the age of 18 already. And it's basically, the estimate is around 1.5 million girls would become child brides every year. It's not a decade, every year. And India is home to the largest number of child brides in the world. So that is the reality. So what child marriage means? Child marriage means it is equivalent to no education. They don't have access, or they won't have in future access to education. And also they will push further into violence and exploitation. And another data, again, from our neighboring country, this morning, Amnesty South Asia, they have tweeted, this International Day of Education. Today is International Day of Education. It's also National Girl Child Day for us, but at an international level, it's an International Day for Education. It marks 129 days of closure of girls' school in Afghanistan. The Taliban have banned girls above the age of 12 to go on schools, and that is how fundamental right to education is denied to them. This is one, just a reality from one country. It's one of our neighbors. And if you take India now, there are a lot of studies have done a kind of a study on the impact of COVID in girls, especially in the lives of girls. And there is a fear that more and more girl children will be out of schools. There will be last 2 years, as we all know, schools were shut down. In few states, they opened it recently, but again with the third wave, they were shut down. And in few states, they are opening schools today, especially in Maharashtra and all, they are opening schools today. But we do not know what would be the reality. We do not know how they would rectify the impact that it has created in the last 2 years. And there is an uncertainty ahead of us also, whether schools are going to run on a regular basis. Just the UN data, UN Women data, they have conducted a survey with the parents in India, and they say 65% percent of parents were reluctant to continue the education of their girls because of other impact, because of the economic impact. They don't have jobs, they lost livelihoods. And as a reason to save cost, they prefer them to get married. So that is the situation we are in now today. And there is another highlight also, the digital education, the digital education that's happening. That is also kind of widened the gap, especially it widened the gap between the rich and poor, and it widened the gap between the boys and girls. So a study that was conducted by Center for Budget and Policy Studies, you can see the full report in the, if anybody interested, I can share. They find out that even though, nearly 70% of girls were engaged in care work, like the example that I shared, a 5-year-old who was assigned a care work, and also household work, while compared to 38% of boys. And if you all know, during the pandemic, we have the frontline health workers who played a major role. And most of the frontline workers, they were not given any childcare options. Anganwadis were closed, so they do not know where to leave their child. They left their child at home. Mostly these children, younger children, was taken care by the older children. So that is what I meant by care work, and that is the example that I gave in the beginning. And similarly, the people who own the device, even if the family own a device, it's mostly the men, or the preferences, if they have one device, then the preference is given to boys. The other reality, in connection to this education and empowerment, the other reality that I want to share with you is, in the last 10 years, I mean, from 2005 to 2016 data, we have done an analysis of the National Crime Records Bureau data. There has been 421% increase in child rape. 421%. It's not 100%, it's 421%. And these numbers only represent the cases that were reported to authorities, that were reported to police station. But nearly 70% of the crime, or 80% of the crime, goes unreported. So imagine the actual number. And similarly, when the lockdown started, when the first phase of lockdown was announced, within the first 11 days, Childline India got 92,000 distress calls of child abuse, which counts 8,364 calls a day. This is only calls of children who were aware of 1098. This is calls made by children who had access to telephones. And just imagine those children who do not have access. So what is important here is, while we talk about this kind of a reality, what we need to keep in mind is, while every child experiences discrimination, you and me experience discrimination. We know we all experience discrimination, and it starts from home. It starts in our institutions. It starts in every space that we go. It's happening even in ICAF. It happened in ICAF when we were there. We can't say that because it's, our movements, we work for social justice and equality, it's discrimination free. It is there everywhere. But what I want to emphasize is that among all of us, the girl children from a disadvantaged background, they face the most and worst forms of violence and discrimination. That's what we need to understand. And that's why I started with those examples. While we all experience discrimination, what is important is we understand children from the disadvantaged background experience. And disadvantaged background, when I say it's the caste identity, it is our tribal identity, whatever identity, nowadays it's also the minority identity. It adds. When I was in People's Watch, I did a fact finding of sexual abuse reports of incidents of sexual abuse in schools that was done by teachers, abused by teachers. I went around for a fact finding. I did a fact finding of 9 incidences. What was one shocking factor at the end of it is, out of the 9 incidences, all the 9 incidences, the children were belonging to disadvantaged community. Out of the 9 incidences, 7 incidents, the children who were affected are from Dalit families. And in one incident, the child was a Sri Lankan refugee child. In another incident, the child was a tribal child. So it's not just, violence and women, but what we need to understand when we talk about girl children or rights of girl children is this multiple identity and the multiple forms of discrimination they face. And also what we need to understand when we talk about girl children is also, it's a vicious circle. If they don't have access to school, if they don't have access to education, that means it leads to poverty, it leads to child marriage, it leads to exploitation, it leads to violence, and that exploitation and violence is a lifelong one. And it doesn't end there. It doesn't end in your childhood period and then once you become an adult and you get freed. Because what the violence and the exploitation that starts in your childhood, it continues till your life. And with this reality, just I placed all these realities just to wake us up, to understand really what the situation is. At the same time, what I want to really emphasize is, children who come from the disadvantaged background also have the power of resilience. I want to give some positive examples of how children fought against it. When these children who reported about child sexual abuse, children from the disadvantaged background have the courage to speak up when compared to children from the privileged background. Because when the children from the privileged backgrounds are covered by so many shields, your family, your ego, whatever thing, because mostly child abuse happens within the family circle, but it never gets reported. And also in my journey with children in the last, 15 years, when I was in Amnesty, we were interacted with nearly 2,000 children, mainly in the Andhra, Telangana, and Tamil Nadu. And we asked them what they want from us, what they want from the government. And I just want to end up my talk with what the lessons I learned from the children. I learned from girl children, what I learned, what they wanted from us. I just want to highlight what they said and conclude my talk with that. They have said several things, but I have put it some 7 points here. First thing, what they want from us as a parent or as a teachers or as institutions, they want us a safe space for children to speak up. I think this applies to us also. As college students also it applies. We all look for it, a safe space for us to speak up. And for children, it's really, really very important, because out of fear and stigma and fear of punishment, they don't speak. But when you create a safe space, they speak. And the second thing, what they want from us is trust. Trust. Why I said this trust is that when we were interacting with children about child sexual abuse, when I did a camp, when we were 2 days, we were talking to children in about 15 schools in Karnataka, all rural schools, all government schools. And I asked them one question, like, when they experience difficulties, when they experience harassment, who would they go and talk to? And you won't believe, not even one single child said they would speak to their parents. Not even a single child said they would go and speak to their teachers. they all said they prefer to talk to their friends. And often friends with the friends, when they talk to their friends, they really don't get what actually the kind of support they needed, but at least some kind of they just let out. Then when I asked them, why don't you talk to your parents, or why don't you open it up with your teachers? They said, they don't trust us. They don't trust us. Instead, they will blame us for what had happened. That's why we didn't want to talk to parents or teachers. I think it is a big responsibility on us, as institutions or as students, as a friends, whatever angle, to trust children, trust girl children, and allow them to speak. Often we always want to give something to children, but we never create a space for them to speak. We never listen to them what they want. So it is very important to trust and listen. The third important, they give a suggestion to the government where they said breaking stereotypes and safety education should be part of school curriculum. They recommended this. They wanted this. And the fourth, what they said is a safe environment. When I say safe environment, we have POCSO Act. It's a very good, legally, it's one of the good development, and where it has a lot of child-friendly procedures, and it is one of the tool that legal weapon that children can use it. But this weapon comes only when the crime has happened. But in order to prevent a crime, in order to prevent children being exploited, in order to prevent children being abused, we don't have a mechanism. We don't have a law. We don't have a policy. We don't have an education. So what they want is that safe environment. When they say safe environment, when we talk to children, these are the stories they said. We are first generation learners, and there is no transport facility available to go to our school. And we walk through forest and other villages, and every day we don't find it safe, and we get harassed. So as a result, our parents want to discontinue our education. So I'm just giving this example so that how education is related to violence, your day-to-day abuse and experience. In other incidents, they also said, on our way to school, there is a liquor shop, and people drink alcohol and harass us. And our parents are so worried about our safety, so they don't want us to, they want us to discontinue our education. So then if they can't go to school, it's again, they will get pushed into marriage. And that's how the, cycle of violence continues. So when we talk to children, really, they are very good in identifying what are the unsafe locations, what they want, and so that creating that safe environment. And the fifth point, what I want to say is a very important point. And I take this opportunity, and I would like to place this request also to all the ICAF animators and advisors at this time, because this has been one of the demands even from my days. When I went, when we were doing this awareness session, we did it for both boys and girls. We didn't do only for girls because, for two reasons. This gender sensitization awareness should be for everyone. So this one small girl, 7th standard girl, she stood up in one class and she asked, what you have taught us is good. What you spoke to us was good. It was empowering. It gave me a courage to speak up. But at the same time, what I think is you should talk to the person who is harassing us, who is harassing us. So what children want is an awareness education for all, for everyone, for parents. They want the parents to be educated. They want the neighbors to be educated. They want every authorities to be educated. They want everyone. So in the context of ICAF, when we say Women's Commission, it is important that we have even empowerment programs. At the same time, it is equally important to have gender sensitization program for all gender in ICAF, for everyone in ICAF. So in that context, this is something that children proposed. All this is I learned from children. They also want, children know there are laws and policies, but they feel they are not really protecting them. They want them to, to protect them. And finally, what they said is education, education, education. when this is something that, I still have those letters the children shared with us. We have the reports available. If anybody interested, I can share the entire report of this journey and what they talked about. Every child in their sharing, they had written how education is important to them. They feel education is the only tool that can help us, to get better job, that can help us, that can protect them from all evils, that can protect them from being exploited as child labor or as getting into child marriage. So they all want education. So that's why it's important that we protect public education system, because the public education system is where most of the children from the disadvantaged background go. With that concluding note, I would like to end my talk here. And if you have any questions or any sharing, please feel free. Thank you so much once again. I'm sorry I didn't show the PPT, but I have a video also. I can share the link with Priscilla. Probably you can share the link later.
Kindly try, because we checked all the options.
Yeah, it is coming now. I'm so sorry. It's coming now. I get the option now. Okay, I'll just show. This is just a 1 minute video.
Certainly. Do it, ma'am. Yes, yeah. Carry on, please.
You all know Kamaladi, right? In memory of, in her memory, because we lost her this year. And, when I remember the Girl Child Day, I look back some people who really, really worked for children. And she's one person who has written a lot of poems, especially those who know Hindi. She has written a lot of poems. Just go and Google it and see. I just like to play her video, and it's just 1 minute. What she said about child sexual abuse. Sorry. Yes.
For me, child sexual abuse is one of the worst kinds of abuse. And for me, it's also a very complex issue, child sexual abuse. I feel that children who are abused will speak out only and only when we adults break our own silence on issues related to sex and sexuality. When we remove that sense of shame and guilt from sex and sexuality at home, in the schools, in the communities. For me, the two keys of prevention and protection are much, much more important than the peak of punishment. Punishment, laws, courts, police, they all come after this crime is done. The perpetrators are part of us. The sufferers are part of us. So all of us...
Ma'am, kindly increase the volume.
It is full volume.
Is it? Okay. Yes, thank you.
I'll share the link. Sorry.
Child sexual abuse is one of the worst kinds of abuse. And for me,
Priscilla, over to you. I'm done.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for inspiring us by your personal experience. and putting up light on the challenges faced by all the girl child. Thank you, ma'am. I now invite Sister Dr. A. Anthony Maria Chansi to share a few words and conclude and inspire us as always. Over to you, Sister.
Semi-audible?
Yes, Sister.
Good. Yes, thank you, Ms. Raji. Really, it is my pleasure to have you here. I think it is echoing. What happened? When I contacted Father Benjamin, then we would like to have National Girl Child Day celebration by Women Commission. Immediately he accepted and he gave us a green signal to go ahead with. Then immediately I was also discussing with Father Dr. S. Emmanuel. Then he said, I would like to get a speaker to enlighten our girls. Then immediately he proposed Madam Raji's name. She's very good at it. You can approach her, he said. Father Saurathi also helped me. Then immediately I tried to contact her. Her immediate response, only yesterday I contacted her, and today she is able to present very well. Though the data, what she presented, the plight of girl children, it's quite alarming. Within a short span of time, she's able to get everything to enlighten us with the real data and inspire us during this pandemic, what happened to the girl children. As we thankful to you, Raji ma'am. And after her talk, I thought of saying Happy Girl Child's Day. National Girl Child Day, I thought of saying Happy Girl Child Day, but now I cannot say so. Because we cannot say it is a Happy Girl Child Day. Still, we are in the, even the government, and we are in the platform of spreading awareness, creating awareness regarding inequalities faced by girls in our country, by women in our country. Especially today, we are talking about girl child. To promote awareness about the rights of girl children. Very clearly she explained. I have nothing more to add with. And to increase the awareness of the importance of female education. And Father Dr. Benjamin said about health and nutrition. Yes. And what I would like to tell you all girls, ICFS, young ones, we should not be brittle, very easily get upset with whatever happens in our life. Life is full of challenges, stressful situations we face every day, whether at home or in an institution or wherever we go. But what I would like to say is, remain calm and strong, and we must fight this battle all together so that we can win our race and we can move forward in our life. And nothing in our life can put us down unless or otherwise we give a space to do it. Whether it is a man or whoever may be, woman or anybody in the world, unless or otherwise we give up a space for it. So let us take an oath that every girl child, not only ourselves, and every girl child in the world, in our country, and we work for their better life and for their better future. And we are the ones who are made up of courage, determination, sacrifice and commitment, talent and love. And because of girls mean gift to every family. Each family hopes or with a girl child. So empowering girls is empowering the nation. So without girls, there is no tomorrow for the family, for the world, for the nation. So let us keep ourselves mentally, physically healthy. That must be our priority. We should not be upset at any time. So the physical exercises and healthy eating habits create a strong mind and a strong body. So with these words, I also would like to appreciate Priscilla and team for their, wonderful coordination. Snega and everybody came for the meeting, and they very well they organized it, planned well,